snatched your sweet love away, but you stay right here beside me, never letting me go. Now I know the love I needed was right here all along. I know that love to forgive all the hurt and pain. Love is enough to remove all the guilt and shame. Love is enough to make up for the shortcomings. I know that love is enough. God's love is enough. God's love is enough. God's love is enough. God's love is enough. Oh, I can't imagine living life without you here with me. So glad this love will last an eternity. Oh, what joy and happiness I feel when I call your name. Now it is plain to see your love for me has helped me sustain. I know that love is enough to forgive all the hurt and pain. Love is enough to remove all the guilt and shame. Love is enough to make up for the shortcomings. See, I know that love is enough. God's love is enough. Oh yeah, love is enough. God's 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 love is enough. I know love is enough. Oh, somebody say love is enough. Everybody come on, let me hear you say love is enough. A love that's gentle, love that's kind. Love is enough. A love that gives me peace of mind. Love is enough. A love is enough to remove all doubt or fear. Love is enough to bring me through any situation. Love is enough to deliver me, to set me free. Love is enough. God's love is enough. I know His love, I know His love. Love is enough. It's a love that's freely given to me. Love is enough. And it's a special kind of love, say love is enough. No greater love have I met. Love is enough. Than to lay down His life for a friend. Love is enough. Now His love is inside me and you. Love is enough. So just spread love, just spread love. Love is enough. Everybody say. Trying to find a way to escape. Trying to find a way to escape all the pressure I feel growing inside of me, because I'm far away from you, knowing that you are my source. So I gotta find my way back to you, Lord. I've gotta find my way back to you, Lord. I've gotta find my way back to you, Lord. Gotta illusion that you are the eyes that see past all confusion to a place called sanity. You take my hand, I'm free.
All right.
Oh, wow. We're fuzzy. What's going on?
Little fuzzy. Oh, we'll be okay. I
Come
think
on, camera.
I think it will adjust. All right. Welcome, welcome. Good afternoon. And welcome to this Friday night episode of Truly Live. And we are your host, Oliver and Yolanda Blue, and we do look a little fuzzy up on the screen, don't we?
Yes. So let me just go here.
Oh yeah. You guys bear with us. We're having a little technical deal here. So this is what it's going to take, Yolanda. Yeah, it's not that. All right, we're going to go off the air for a second. I mean, everyone stay put. Our picture is going to go away, but you guys stay put. 1 second. Yeah, we're good. All right. That's one thing about a live show is that you have to be willing to pivot when you're dealing with technology. And we got our camera right now. If I can get my co-pilot back over here. Co-pilot is coming and bringing me a treat. All right. Appreciate that. On in here. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Truly Live, where your co-host, Oliver,
Yolanda.
and we're so excited to be here on this Friday night, and we're glad that you're here, and we see that we have some people in the room with us, and you want to give them a shout out there?
Hello, hello. I see that Sandra Ortez is with us. Hello, Sandra. And one of our patrons, Sue, is with us. Oh, and our VIP patrons, Bob and Carol, are with us. And let's see who else. You got to let it go.
I think I've let it go.
So hello to everyone, and it's good to see everyone.
Yes, thank you so much. Hope you guys have had a beautiful Friday. And Carol says she did not get the link. Just sent it a few minutes ago. We'll send it again, Carol. But welcome, everyone. And we're so happy to be here for episode 34. And it's going to be a good one. And so, again, we'd like to just start out by giving a shout out to our patrons. And thank you for being here with us tonight. And thank you for supporting Truly Live. I also like to give a special shout out to the people of Ukraine and all the other countries, all the other people that are being affected by this current conflict. So we want to hold a space for those families, and we're certainly believing for a quick resolve to that matter. I'd also like to shout out to my mother, who Yolanda calls
Grandma Blue,
and to her father, who I call Papa.
As a matter of fact, I just left him, and I was not supposed to be there at all. And see, that's what happens when I travel on Fridays. That's why I try very hard not to travel on Fridays. What episode number is this?
We're on 34.
All right.
All right. And also, like, if you still got some skin in the March Madness game, we're happy for you. But we want to shout out to all those basketball teams that remain alive in the NCAA men and women tournaments.
Go
you got
Duke men.
You got two tournaments going on, and yes, my wife is a huge Duke fan.
Woo-hoo.
And they got lucky last night, pulled it out.
They did not get lucky. That
Listen,
was skill.
Listen,
those freshmen, that was skill.
They were behind the entire game for the last 3 minutes.
No, they were not behind. They were tied. So I did see a little bit. At any rate,
my team
they're in the Elite Eight.
Yes, and my team is playing tonight at 9:30. And so all you gather around the TV to watch those Tar Heels from North Carolina. Yes. So anyway,
I actually cheer for the Heels just because I don't want my husband to be sad. So I actually cheer more for Carolina than I do for Duke.
Yes. Well,
I'm such a good wife.
Oh, absolutely. And if you're watching us for the first time and wondering who we are, first of all, we'd like to thank you for choosing Truly Live as a source of information, inspiration, transformation, and empowerment. We are the OK Blues, and we've been married 31 years. We're the parents of 3 adult children. We have 1 grandson that's going to be celebrating his 2nd birthday in not too many weeks from now.
Good for you.
And we're honored to have close relationships with some phenomenal people, and some of those people we bring on this show. And we are certified, both of us are certified transformational coaches. We are conference speakers, transformational teachers, spiritual gurus,
We're
students.
gurus now, you
Oh
all.
my God. We are founders, co-founders of Truly OB, our personal development company. And we're also co-founders and co-hosts of this show, Truly Live. And we are a professional and a personal and professional principle centered development company that help others to get clarity on their true identity, which we call the real what?
The
The
real
real,
you.
the real you. And we share timeless content, universal principles, transformational practices, and community access with others who are committed to experiencing a deeper, more meaningful life. So if you're about growth, you are in the right place at the right time. We also share our decade of experience from our journey together. And most importantly, we are a dance loving, fun loving couple. And we have leaned heavily into joy and laughter to get past some of the most challenging times in our life. And that's who we are.
So while you are saying hello, the pastors have come in, and I want to say hello to the pastors. Hello, Tony and Clifton. It's so good to see you all. Carol said still no email.
Okay,
So
well,
let's just
yeah, we're
Um,
going to send it
we've
here.
got something going on right there. You see that?
Where?
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, just
All right.
bear with us here, Carol. We'll send one here in a second here.
I'll do our why. While
You do
you're
our
doing
why
that.
where I send the email. Okay.
So why do we do what we do? We want others to know that their life has deep meaning and good purpose. We help people to consider and pursue the results that matter to them so that they live a focused life with purposed attention. Our passion is to help those who remain outside, unknowing, unawakened, and in need of a witness to the truth that is true always. We believe in sharing a powerful message because you all are a powerful people. So that is our why. That's who we are and why we do what we do. So now, the next part, we're going to go ahead. I'll just go ahead and continue with our gratitude sharing.
Oh, absolutely.
So this segment is we've done our shout out. Our next segment is our gratitude sharing, and we love to we practice as a normal part of our everyday life. We practice being in the state of gratitude. Why? Because gratitude is an energetic and vibratory field that shifts everything to the present moment. So we spend our time looking for the good in everything. What are you happy and grateful for? If you have something that you would like to share, please write that in the comments, and we'd love to be able to share some of those with you all. The other thing we'd like for you to do is if you find that this information is helpful and useful to you, then we, by all means, would like for you to like and share
Yes.
this platform, and by all means subscribe so that you'll get all the notifications when we are going to be on.
Absolutely. And Virginia Carter, our friend from the province of Ontario, Canada,
Hello again,
is
Virginia.
in the house tonight.
Woo,
and she says, I
woo.
am truly happy to be here. And we're so delighted that you
We
are here, Virginia.
Grateful that you are
Yes.
here, Virginia.
Yes.
All right. Carol said she's got it. Outstanding.
All right,
Okay,
Carol.
here
Thank
we
you.
go. So, anyone else, if you would like to please write what you're happy and grateful for, we're going to continue just a little bit here. Gratitude is simply being in the present state of thankfulness, in the state of appreciation, and in a state of kindness. And it's an attitude that improves the quality of our life.
Yes. Gratitude hooks us up with the source, our source of supply.
Outstanding. Sue says, I am happy and grateful that I was able to spend time with the grandbabies last weekend.
All right, Sue.
Sue, we concur. We love spending time with the grandbabies, and we love to see it when anyone else is spending time with their grandbabies as well.
Absolutely.
So
What are you happy? What are you grateful for today?
I am even though my day was totally completely different than I had planned, I'm happy and grateful that my dad is doing so well.
That's great.
He had a bit of a setback, and I took him over to well, he was going to the doctor's office anyway, and I took him over and I asked his surgeon if he would kind of look at it. His doctor was actually out, but the other surgeon, but the other doctor, Dr. Seymour, was there. Dr. Jones was on vacation. Those are two great doctors at the VA. They're podiatrists, and they are absolutely
Podiatrist.
They are absolutely phenomenal.
What's a podiatrist?
Those are foot doctors.
Oh, foot doctors.
Foot doctors. And so he did. He went ahead and saw my dad. They're just they love what they do, and they're really, really good at it. Anyway, so he was able to intercept that before it becomes a big problem. So my dad is doing really good today. He was joking, he was jovial, and I gave him a great treat. So that's another reason he was happy.
All right, go Papa. I'm
also going to give a shout out today to my aunt May. She knows who she is. I love her dearly, and just know that we're standing with you always.
Yes, and you didn't ask me what I'm grateful for.
I was about to ask you what you're grateful for, dear.
You know what? I'm grateful for the committed, faithful patrons that we have, and just so happy that we were able to connect with them this past Wednesday.
Yes.
Some of you out there that was with us this past Wednesday as we had a gathering just for the patrons, and we had a great time.
We actually had a super duper surprise because one of our patrons, who's near and dear to our heart, our daughter-in-law was on, and she had the grandbaby.
And she had our grandson.
So the grandson was
yeah.
on, and then there was one other grandchild that was on. A granddaughter was on with one of the other patrons, and those children were so quiet and well behaved. Were they
Yes,
not? It
absolutely.
was just phenomenal.
Absolutely, and so we're so happy that we had the opportunity to be with our patrons. And you guys that are out there that are regular with us, come on and become a patron of Truly Live. And it's really easy to do. And it's a great investment. You're investing in yourself, and you're investing in the work that we're doing and helping us to get this content out into the world. And that's easily done by just going to www.patreon.com/Truly Live. And you can sign up and subscribe to be a part of what we're doing, and you get to get in those what we call backstage with Oliver and Yaulanda. We have all kind of surprises back there, and guests and people that is going to be joining us during the year with their expertise for our patrons. So come on and invest and become a patron with us. There's 3 levels in there. When you get in there, you can see those 3 levels, and you'll be glad you did.
Outstanding. As a matter of fact, tonight's program it was a request by our patrons.
Yes, one of our patrons. We got into some very deep conversation on Wednesday. Of course, everyone has great concerns or have concerns. We all live on the same planet. We all live, in the same house. When I say all, I'm talking about all humanity. All 7.8 million of us live on this one planet, or this one house, this one home, and we all desire peace. We all desire peace. We all desire love and prosperity and health and happiness and joy. And when there's the type of disturbances that we are facing right now as humanity, as a species, it is concerned. And so we had some conversations around that. And tonight's Truly Live lesson is actually a continuation of some of that conversation, because one of our patrons had a request that we address,
which came about as a result of a conversation.
Yes, and to address.
And then the others concurred. So this program is actually as a result of our patrons.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And so our next segment, we always, each week on our show, we always like to reach out into the universe and grab some inspiring or encouraging quote that we like to share with our viewers. And tonight's quote is a very interesting one, and of course, I picked it because it's related to the topic that we're going to be covering. And so, with that said, you want to get your comments up there?
I'm getting my
There you
comments.
go.
Is that supposed to be that big? I'm gonna let you.
Oh yeah, well that's just it doesn't have to be, but that's
Okay.
the one we're going to use. So with that said, our inspirational quote for tonight is um
Before you do that, um, Bob and Carol said, they're talking about our grandson, and they said he is a love. Yes, he is.
oh yeah, he
Yes, he
certainly is.
is.
Yes. So our quote tonight is, it says, "The sea is dangerous and its storms terrible. But these obstacles have never been sufficient reason to remain ashore. Unlike the mediocre,
The mediocre.
unlike the mediocre, intrepid spirits seek victory over those things that seem impossible. It is with an iron will that they embark on the most daring of all endeavors to meet the shadowy future without fear and conquer the unknown." And this quote comes from
Ferdinand
Ferdinand
Magellan.
Ferdinand Magellan, and
Ferdinand.
he's a 1520th guy, where he was really known for. Uh, he is best known for having planned and led the 1519 Spanish expedition to the East Indies across the Pacific Ocean to open up a new maritime trade route, during which he discovered the interoceanic passage bearing thereafter his name, and achieved the first European navigation from the Atlantic to Asia. So he navigated those turbulent waters, and
So he charted the navigation of those waters, because
yes,
those waters were already charted by the people who were
absolutely,
already here.
absolutely. But he did not let the let me see my quote again. He did not let what? He did not let the dangerous seas and the
Terrible storms.
and the terrible storms keep him from what? Leaving the shore. He did not remain ashore, but he went out. It wasn't sufficient enough to keep him moving. And likewise, in our own personal life, we can't let the storms of life or the challenges of life cause us what? To not move forward. And that's a great lead in to our conversation tonight and our discussion tonight.
Yes.
And so before we get into that, you want to do a little business here?
Yes, let's handle the business.
Let's handle a little business before we do that. So just bear with me for a second, and we're going to take care of a little business here.
A little housekeeping.
About that.
Would you look at the time? It's tax time. You already know H&R Block does taxes, but here's what you may not know when you file with H&R Block, like how you can get expert help in person or virtually. Plus, our tax pros average 10 years of experience. You can even request to work with the same tax pro every year, and your biggest possible refund is always guaranteed. No one offers more ways to help with your taxes than H&R Block. At H&R Block, help is here.
Durham, North Carolina, and that is our friend of this show, Chris Wilson. And I can imagine he's a busy guy by this time.
He's
a busy guy, and we even thought about bringing him back on before April the 15th in order to share with us any last minute tips. I know some of you guys are, if you're like me, we're still kind of like watching the clock, watching the date. But taxes is a responsibility of all of us as citizens, so it has to be done. And Chris is a great guy to reach out to with all your tax needs.
Yes.
So, with that said, we're going to pivot here. And you was concerned about that big rendering up there, weren't you? Let's see if I can't find a different one. If we take that one off, what if we hide that one and then the little one comes up?
There you go.
There you go.
All right, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And So tonight, what we want to do is just turn our attention to. There was a few questions raised on Wednesday night in our, Wednesday night when we had our patrons gathering, um, concerning how do you stay focused, personally focused,
And not becoming overwhelmed
and
by
professionally focused,
yes.
and not become overwhelmed by the extreme events that all of us are aware of.
Mhm.
And this particular question came up because a person raised a concern of saying, what are some practical things that can be done to remain focused, or what approach should I have given the extreme events that are happening in the world. And so questions have come up since that time. For example, how does one remain focused when there are extreme events happening in the world? There's another question. You want to read that second one?
How much concern and attention should be given to world events that are center stage in the news media?
And over the past several years, if you have been living on this planet, there have been one catastrophic event after another. And I find myself shifting my attention from my visions, dreams, and goals to these events.
Mhm.
And 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 so like I said, all of us are aware of the world events, and at the same time, all of us have what normal responsibilities and duties that we have to take care of. And so, where's the balance in that?
So tonight we're going to have a conversation around what we can do to maintain balance, stability, and peace during chaotic and turbulent times.
Yeah. And so, really, for us, we Yolanda and I, we have with our approach to our coaching business, there are 6 areas that we focus on, and one of them is spiritual awareness.
Yes.
And so tonight we're going to approach this from the point of view of we're going to consider the point of view of spirituality and awareness, and where that in our faith, and how that play a role in how we approach and how we navigate during these times, during these turbulent times, during these major events, when we know that there's a tremendous amount of anxiety, a tremendous amount of concern, or even fear that people experience, and anxiety when the world seems to be, in a turmoil.
Mm-hmm.
And but there's also we're transformational coaches. We teach a transformational system. So there's also a transformational point of view that we want to consider, given the practicality of, so at the end of the day, what practice can I engage in, or what can I do? Where should I put my energy? Where should my focus be? Can I actually do something? Or, from this, it seems like from the position that I'm in, I can't do anything because, it's not like it's happening right in my front yard. So these are all concerns and questions that came up, and we just had some general conversation about it.
And as a matter of fact, what we did was Oliver showed a short clip from the movie Dumb and Dumber, and in that clip, there was a guy who was very attracted to this young lady, and he wanted to know did he have a chance at having a relationship with her? And and he wanted an honest response, and she told him truthfully that his chances were 1 in a million. And he responded that I have a chance. He said, he was excited. He said,
1 in a million.
I have a chance.
Yeah.
So instead of him looking at the insurmountable, 999,999 other reasons that he could not
chances that it wouldn't happen. He just looked at the what?
He
one.
looked at the one.
The 1 in a million.
Because all he needed is the one.
All he needed was what? The
Just
one
the one.
opportunity.
So that sparked our conversation, and we began talking about what we talk about here on Truly Live a lot of the time is our perspective, which really comes from our awareness.
Right.
And it is how our thinking makes our situation, whether it's difficult or whether it's not, whether we have hope or whether we don't.
Oh, absolutely. And we know that all of the focus that we put in the transformation community is on the way that we think, because it's the way that we think that eventually affects the way that we perceive. Perception has to do with the way that the way that we interpret things, and then eventually the way we interpret things, the way we see things, is going to affect the way that we feel.
Yes,
it's going to affect our emotional, our psychological makeup, and then ultimately it's going to impact the things that we do.
Yes,
which at the end of this process, it's going to affect our results and how and what we experience in life. So so if you, like, for example, so what we want to do is so we all know that on the world stage that there's been a war for going on over a month now that continuously provide us with information immediately. And that's the thing about this society that we live in now,
the times
that we live in now, is that we can immediately be brought in on any event that's happening in the world,
so that we don't just hear about the images, but we see those images. And right now we're seeing a lot of this stuff play out in
real time, and even as it's happening. And so you cannot from your place of humanity cannot but get emotionally involved, get psychologically involved, or have a reaction to what we're seeing, what we're hearing, what we're viewing, which we know that it is definitely not in line with what we desire. No one desire to see death or sickness or calamity or destruction, displacement or agony, or some of the scenes that we've actually seen is actually on the battlefield, things that are almost unbelievable. And so how do we now balance that to the point that where for some of us, like it was discussed in the patrons the other night, you can become totally focused on that, into where you just almost stop living your normal life. And so so if you put in the chat, if you have comments around this subject, because we're just having a conversation tonight. We don't have the answers. We're just going to have some general conversation around this. And we do have some suggestions that we're going to suggest at the end here that are practical things that we all can do.
The pastors say that what we're experiencing now is like the modern day Game of Thrones and War of the Gods.
Yes. Yeah. And if you can, from a spiritual standpoint, you can look at this from a duality or a non-duality point of view. In the duality point of view, we know that we have a prophetic book called the Bible that's always been out there. And the Bible spoke of the days in which the atrocities that we're seeing, it was prophesied long ago that these would be the circumstances and situations and conditions in the world that we will be facing. It talks about wars, rumors of wars. It talks about famines. It talks about earthquakes. It talks about just unbelievable, phenomenal destruction. It talks about the heightened uh, fear, and it, the report was not. It's a doom gloom report, and but it in that prophetic word it says, "But do not fear. Fear not." It always uh, had the instruction or the advice: "Do not fear.
It also says, "Be of good cheer,
Be of good cheer."
for I am with you always."
Right. So how do you not fear, and how do you be of good cheer when
Yes.
you see the atrocities in the world?
Yes.
And so that is the duality perspective, and then there's a non-dual perspective to what's going on. Uh, and what the non-dual path says is that what we're seeing is not reality, and that it is only humanity's dream of being separate from each other and from their creator, and thus we play this we play out on this huge stage, um, this the activities of warring and fighting and division and separation, and that, and from a non-dual standpoint they say, well, it's not reality, so therefore what, we don't engage with it. We see it, but what we don't engage with it, in the sense that we don't give any credence to it being a part of reality, and that
So,
it,
in essence, we don't feed our energy
we don't feed our energy.
into to that, to
Right.
cause it to grow, because remember, energy grows where energy goes.
Right.
So we've talked here often about having a crystal clear vision for our life, and we have discussed over a number of times that if we don't have a crystal clear vision, we can't help but be tossed to and fro, and going with whichever way the wind is going.
Right. So what we've taught in this from in our uh, transformational system that we teach, is that it's so vital that all of us, each one of us individually, to have a crystal clear vision, or crystal clear goals about what we would love for our life, and what we would love our life to look like, what we would love to engage in, the experiences we'd love to have.
And we
And
call that having a
we
blueprint
call that having what?
to center our energy and
Yes.
focus, regardless of the events that are
Yes.
occurring in the world.
Yes.
Mhm.
So it is quite obvious that if you don't know, if we don't know personally or collectively what we would love, if we don't have a goal for our life, we don't have a blueprint for our life, if there's not a definite, we talked about it last week, if it's not a definite purpose, if it's not a burning desire, then that means we don't have a target to hit.
Mhm.
So that means that what? Any wind blows, we get blown by the wind because we have nothing to center on. And so it's quite apparently that those that do have, and that's why we teach the importance of having a blueprint for your life, because it becomes what, it becomes the focal point, where you put your energy, where you put your attention,
Mhm.
where you put your time, and without that, then of course anything that is out of sort will distract us.
So then we have to we will we can ask ourselves, where is our trust?
Right. Where's our trust, or where's our attention? Because our,
Yes.
our attention is going to go where our trust is.
Yes.
So it becomes a question of faith or fear. Are we going to feed our faith, right? That which we believe, that which we are convinced about, or are we going to what? Are we going to feed our fear?
Mhm.
Fear has to do with what? The belief that that which we desire is not going to happen, not going to manifest. That which we don't want is what we're going to what end up having to live with. In other words, living with our what discontents,
Mhm.
living with our longings. And so that is always will be um, the counsel that we share on this show in terms of how do I remain focused? Well, you got to know what you love. You got to know what you want. You got to know
And
where
it's
you're.
it's a
Yeah,
good time for us to be able to see where our paradigms are. Are we, when we're faced with all the things that are going to be occurring with everyone, then we get to see, how what our thinking is, how our thinking is.
absolutely, because be-
Not getting
no, you're good. Because like Yolanda said, what are our paradigms when faced with distractions in the past? What do we normally do when we're under pressure? And what the normal response is that we go back to those place of comfort, and so it also when there's events in the world, when there's things that are happening that can become distractions, it lets us know where we are, because in those moments, where is our faith, where is our belief? And so um but to be grounded, for any of us to be grounded, we have to know who we are. This show is built on the reality or the idea of the real you. That word truly is the foundational message that Yolanda and I built this business on, and that we build this show on, and that is the real you loves you, because we have taught that it is the knowing of ourselves.
Yes.
It's the awareness that we have of who we are as spiritual beings, who we are uh, um, as eternal being, who we are as shared being with our Creator. That has to be the foundation for
And
which everything that we build.
and the trust that love is the supreme,
Yes,
that we are part of a loving union and not and nothing else.
yes, and that love prevails. That love always eventually wins, or eventually prevails in the end. There's a wisdom scripture that says, "Many are the plans in a man's heart, but it's the purpose of God that what shall prevail, or the purpose of love that shall prevail." And so, in these turbulent times, in these chaotic times, what are we turning to? You know, where is our trust? Where is our faith? you know what you know what do we really lean into?
Yes, where are we drawing our comfort and
Right.
peace from?
Yes.
Where are we drawing that from? So let's discuss a few practical things that we can do, because there's a comment that I certainly want to put up.
Okay, go
On
ahead. Is
here.
that Sue?
But we're gonna discuss this first. So there are some practical things that we can all do to help us to stay centered, stay focused, to remain as we truly are, which is we are love, we are light. Um, and to stay in that energy.
Absolutely. So we've talked on this show that one of um, the greatest tool that we have, or the greatest reality that we have, is that we are aware beings, and it is our awareness, or our consciousness, that is what makes us what the highest creation here on the planet. And so, with our awareness, one of the practical things we can do is just to notice. Is to first of all pause.
Yes.
If there is a concern, if there is an inkling of fear, if there's anxiety, or there's something that's trying to trouble us, we always share that the first thing that we should do when we become aware of that is take a pause, right? And notice what we're noticing. Notice what we're thinking. Notice how we're feeling, right? Uh, Notice what we are, notice what is being, you know, what has been spoken within ourselves. What are we telling ourselves in this moment? How do we physically feel?
Mhm.
So using our awareness to notice what we're noticing. That is a very good practical tool for us to use in any situation, especially when we're faced with uh, anxiety or fear or being overly concerned about what's going on in the world or what's going on, anywhere. It don't have to be uh, on a global level, but there are things that concern us right here, in our communities, and sometimes right in our homes, when we have these major concerns. And so, the first tool is practical thing we can do is notice what we're noticing.
Mhm.
Secondly,
We can notice our longings and our discontent.
notice our longings and our
So
discontent.
we've talked about many times also here on the program. We've talked about how our longings and our discontents, what our longings, what we want more of, um, what we want to be, to do, to express, to create, to
To share.
to share, to impart, to solve, um, and um, and then that speaks to us along with our discontent, what we want less of. Those things speak to us, and they can lead us to finding or being in that state where we are at our
Yeah.
happiest.
So when there's chaos, when there's turbulence, can we pause? Can we step back from the chaos and the turbulence? And can we notice what we're noticing? Can we notice our longings and discontent? It takes an intention to do that.
Yes.
Otherwise, we can get caught up in the fray. We can get caught up in what's happening. We can get caught up in the news. We can get caught up in all the hoopla. And then the third practical thing that we have taught in this show and we teach in our coaching practice, ask yourself that high vibrational question. What would you love? What would you love? Again, it turns our focus away from the turbulence. It turns our focus away from the chaos. It helps center us. What will we love? And that question is always an effective way for us to recenter ourselves.
Yes.
Because what we are maybe imagining in our mind is what we would not love. Right? Because if we get to focusing on the chaos and on the turbulence, what will begin to happen is our mind will begin to run amok and start telling us about things that we would not love.
Yes.
So our attention now is being drawn away, right? Our mind is beginning to wander. And so what we don't realize in that moment is that we're allowing this to happen. We're doing this, we're allowing this to happen. And so take this practical step to ask yourself the question, what will you love? Always. And if what's being played out before us is not what we would love, then we focus on what we would love.
Yes.
And then finally, the last practical thing that we can do in moments where we may feel overwhelmed or anxious about situations or circumstances, we can do what we can from where you are with what you have. So after you ask yourself, what would you love? Then take an inventory of where you are in that moment. What do you have, and what can you do from where you are with what you have in order to move in the direction of what you would love.
Yes.
And so those are 4 good practical tools that you can do in these moments when you feel overwhelmed, you feel overly charged about what is really happening around you and in your environment. And um,
And
the
when we take that pause and we're quiet, then we can hear. Sometimes what we hear is that we should get involved
yes,
in some way or another. Um, and that's what's I'm going to put this comment up. And that's one of the things that we can do. Our patron Sue says that she can watch the news, and but what can she do? You know, she said, but I can do little about it. So what I can do is pray for humanity, pray that the people stay safe, pray that the conflict be resolved, for the mass consciousness to be in love and not in fear.
yes,
Yes.
yes. So that's doing what you can do from where you are with what you have.
Yes.
And sometimes, that might look like, um, in this case, we may be inspired to make contributions to those that are actually on uh, those organizations that are actually involved with providing help and aid to those that are in distress. Or it may look like that we gather together with others, come together and collectively um, decide to take some type of loving action. Okay, but all that comes from, all that comes from. We want all that to be motivated by love, not fear. Motivated by a heart of compassion, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so these are just practical things that any human being can do. Some beings have been inspired to actually get on an airplane
Mm-hmm.
and fly over into that region and be a part of helping the people on the ground. So it's whatever, however you are moved, and whatever you think is beneficial that you can do um,
To help
to help
ease to help ease
to help ease
suffering,
suffering. Yes,
to help to manage
yes,
some of the needs that have now
yes, absolutely,
come about.
absolutely. So with
So
that said,
guess what? We have a special treat.
oh, we have a special treat tonight. We're going to actually bring on two of our patrons. They are actually two of our VIP patrons. We're going to actually bring them on to the show, and because as we were having this conversation the other night, we just we was so moved, and we decided to add this extra thing that we can do here as a show, um, uh, concerning what we've actually discussed here. So we're going to bring Bob and Carol on to the show here
Our
onto the
friends
stage.
and our friends and patrons, truly live. Hello, Bob and Carol.
Hello, Bob and Carol.
Hello, everyone.
Good
I'm
to see
so
you guys.
honored to be here. Thank you.
Outstanding.
Thank you so much. Bob and Carol is patrons of and have become real good friends of us, and they live in the state of Indiana.
Mhm.
And they have supported us from the very beginning. And so they are here tonight, and they wanted to share um, something that we could do as as a community,
As a
and that is to offer
yes.
a prayer for all humanity and for what's going on.
So we'll let Carol, Bob and Carol will let you guys go ahead and tell the Truly Live audience what it is that you're planning to do.
Well, we're planning to share with you a favorite prayer, and it was written in 1940 by James Dillett Freeman. He is a poet and minister, and he was preparing the Christmas service, and he wanted to have a prayer that would be good for the soldiers and their families. And what he came up with is what we want to share, but just a little more history with that.
Mhm.
In 1969, astronaut Buzz Aldrin took the prayer to the moon and back. So it's been to the moon. And in 1986, it came into my life and became my favorite prayer for myself, for the people I love, for anyone to share. It's often been in our Christmas cards, and we text and email it frequently. It's a prayer that is very comforting and uplifting, and I think it's very important in these times, as Oliver and Yolanda have shared. The prayer was written to God, but today there are many beautiful names for God. Some people refer to God as the creator of all, as the source, as the Father, as the divine presence. So whatever is true and near to your heart, you use that when you use the prayer. But tonight, we're going to read it to you the way it was written. So we are presenting to you a very brief 5-line prayer called the Prayer for Protection. The light of God surrounds us.
The love of God enfolds us.
The power of God protects us.
The presence of God watches over us.
Wherever we are, God is.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Thank you for that, Bob and Carol. And so, you know, all of my life, when I look back over my life, it's been those times in my life when it was a low point, or it was a huge challenge that that I could really get quiet and hear, and desire to get quiet and desire to hear, to get some guidance and some direction on, what should be my next step. What
Yes.
should be, how should I, how should I handle this? And it was during those most pressing times that I felt more led and guided, by, that supreme being. And I'm sure that those people that are close to this, the events that are happening, there is guidance there for them.
Yes.
There is protection there for people.
Yes.
There is, I'm a true advocate that I know that God is here with us, in us, as us, and here and want to guide and lead us in every situation, in every circumstance, in every condition.
Yes.
And so we offer this prayer tonight to those that are, directly affected, those that are indirectly affected.
And for anyone who's
Yeah.
in any type of situation,
Yeah.
Bob and Carol, thank you all so much for your
Did I-
loving expression and wanting to share that with the Truly Live audience, with the Truly Live community. And we are witnesses to the fact that prayer, the energy of love, sustains, comforts, encourages, all of those things. So it is important for us to do what we can. Oh wow, look at this. Our new friend Virginia says, I say that prayer every day and night. Thanks for the background of it. Yes, that was wonderful, Carol.
Yes,
thank
Carol.
you. Wow. So it's really important for us to make certain that we do what we can, and that our prayers and our holding that energy, holding that space of love and peace and comfort, while other people cannot do that because they're so close to what's going on. It's
Yes.
vitally important that
We hold the
do that
space for them until they
until
can,
hold
hold
it
the
for
space for
themselves.
themselves.
Yes.
That's right.
Oliver, you might want to send the prayer out on one of your emails at some time.
Yes, we'll do that.
Yes,
Yeah, we'll do that.
definitely.
Well, thank you guys so much for getting on. Bob, it was Bob and Carol, it was great to see you guys, and thank you for loving, being so loving and kind that you wanted to share that with people. We think that is just phenomenal. So thank you very much. So we're going to do that prayer tonight in instead of doing the Dalai Lama's meditation, loving kindness meditation, which we say is a prayer. We say that prayer daily for everyone as well. So thank you, Bob and Carol, and thank you for all of you who have joined with us for inspiration, information, entertainment, empowerment. I just wanted to see if you were paying attention.
We are entertaining at times.
Empowerment. And I wanted to see if you were inspiration and empowerment. I wanted to see if you were paying attention, because I was like, what is he doing over there?
Yes. Well, with that, my name is Oliver Blue. My name is Oliver,
I'm Yolanda.
and we are
The OK Blues.
we are the OK Blues.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.